Welcome back to the Winners Table. When you sit with the winners, the conversation is different. I'm your host, Amber Wright, and today I am joined with a fantastic group of people. We've got Dr. Kimberly West of the Global Gastronome. We've got Pastor D of Dunamis Women Enterprise, and we have Jeff Austin, also known as Plant-Based Jeff. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Listen, this is what we do at the Winners Table. We have a good time. Today, our topic of conversation is chasing wealth. I want to know from all of you first, what does that mean? Are you chasing wealth, or is wealth chasing you? Are you a money magnet? It's an affirmation. That's one of my favorite affirmations. I'm a money magnet. But talk to me about what it means to pursue wealth, and would you say that you were on that journey, or are you already wealthy? If you are, let me hold some.
Right.
We'll start. We'll start with you, Jeff.
I would say, in my opinion, wealth to me is, I feel like I'm building wealth. So when I say building wealth, I feel like health is wealth. So the impact that I'm leaving on my generation, on my family, and my community is wealth within itself. Because when I first think about wealth, a lot of people would say live in trust, buildings, real estate, rental
really
houses. Yeah, but it's more than that. I want to pass down more than just money and assets, but also the mindset of hey, we got to be healthy first so that we can be those entrepreneurs, those business owners, and thrive. So to me, that's wealth. And I feel like I have it right now.
Yeah. I love that. Health is wealth. That's the motto. Happy, healthy, wealthy. What about you, Dee?
Well, for me, chasing wealth is chasing knowledge. It's a difference between money and wealth. You know what I mean? And a lot of us end up chasing money, dollar, and that could be depleting. I've been there before. It's very draining, and you're not tending to your mind, like he was saying. So I want to build a legacy. I'm building wealth from a standpoint that is everlasting and everlasting. That's my vision. That's my goal. So I need knowledge. I need people who can teach me not only how to do it, but how am I properly positioning that? How can I really put it in a place that, it will always flow? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Not me run after it, but it will flow back to me. And then down from generation to generation to generation, Yeah.
That's so deep. I love it. Yeah. So we have wealth being an intangible. It's a health is wealth. We have wealth is knowledge. What about you?
I absolutely agree. Wealth is so much more than just money. And there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Wealth is health. Wealth is knowledge.
Yeah,
wealth is family. Wealth is also assets. Wealth is a mindset. Wealth is a lifestyle. So when you're building all of these things, and money comes to me easily. So that's not the issue. It's making sure that you have all of the other things in balance as well. So that to me is true wealth.
Yeah, I would agree with all of you. I mean, we're being very philosophical.
Yes,
we are. I love that. And I think that that's important, and it's good to name that and to call that out. But we're also in business to make money.
Yeah,
I'm not here to play on the radio, okay? I really, that's also, that's clear. We want those watching this show to know we're very clear. Yes, health is wealth, and all of these things that, again, are intangible, but there's harmony between the two, because if you have this reckless abandon toward one and you forsake all of the other things, then what is the point if you're not healthy enough? You're enjoying it from a hospital bed. Right. Or you stop growing, or you think that you've grown so much that you don't know that you know everything. Correct. Or that you stop learning, which is, that's the end of life when we stop learning. Right. So I love that. I love that we're able to name that first. But talk to me about when you started your entrepreneurial journeys and just kind of being on this road. We all come from different backgrounds and have different experiences, but I think all of you answered the question from where you are now. So talk to me about what creating wealth meant for you when you first got started, because I want to speak to the person who's watching this and who's hungry for it. They're right at the impetus of their journey, and they know that they're called to greatness, but they're figuring out all of the pieces. They just know, I don't want to be broke no more. I don't want to live like this anymore. So talk to me about what that was like for you when you all began.
Initially, I wanted to maintain the style of living to which I'd become accustomed to while living with my parents.
Okay.
Fast forward a little bit, went to music school, became a starving artist. realized that was not where I wanted to be. I needed to return back to that standard of living. So that's really where my journey or my quest for wealth began. So that, it was visceral.
It's just like, this is what I don't want.
Yeah, it's like I've
Been there.
I've been there, and then I dropped to here, and I need to go back to here and
Gotcha.
excel.
Okay, I like that. What about you, Dee?
Well, I've always been a hustler. You know, I think it starts off there. You gotta have some hustle in you. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know, that builds up into saying, hey, now I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I have this thing that I'm doing. I have this what I'm doing, and then I went into a not-for-profit aspect of it, where you know, writing proposals and running a child welfare agency, and then all of that just was taken from up under me. You know, had built a $3+ million not-for-profit for that, which in that industry, that's huge. But then everything was just taken, and then I had to acquire a business. I made a decision, let me make an acquisition, and that's when my mind had to change from hustle, entrepreneur, to now business owner, that I have to know how to build wealth. You know what I'm saying? Because when it's a mindset. You know, when you have a startup of something you're doing and you're just getting the money and doing this, but when you make an acquisition and put up your assets and your collateral, it's like that changed the whole trajectory of everything. You know what I'm saying? So I really had to dig in and I've been a part of so many things that people have shown me and taught me, but until I apply it, you know, it's a whole nother aspect. So I really adopt a repetition is necessary when application is lacking, you know. And so that wealth and building that wealth and chasing that wealth, it is not just about, let me have knowledge, but I have to apply it. I have to apply it every step of the way.
Okay. You know. I love that. Thank you. So Jeff, I've heard you say that when you started your business, your intention was really to help improve the health status and well-being of your immediate family. Right. So talk to me about when you made that transition to say, this can be a business. Right. What was that like for you?
At that point, I realized like I had it was so much need. Everybody was coming to me. So I'm like, the business was born like out of necessity. Right at the start of COVID, people wanted natural remedies. You know, they didn't trust the doctors. People, you know, COVID was real. It swept through here. So people were scared. People were really scared. So from that standpoint, I fulfilled the need because I supplied a natural supplement, but also I provided the education too. Yeah. And I said, wow, I'm really serving people, but this thing is making me money. And I had a habit to support. And y'all want to know my habit? What was it? Traveling and eating out. So I was like, if I'm gonna pay for this vegan food, that's and I know you're a foodie, you know about traveling the world. Yes, sir. It gets expensive. Yes. You know, back in the day, you could get a $5 meal. Now everything is $20 and up. So I wanted something first to create. What can I create to profit to take care of my necessities? You know, rent, mortgage, all of that stuff, and take care of the stuff I like to do, and help people at the same time. So then my mind started to tinker and say, oh, I need fulfillment center, I need these people, I need this. And I found out a way to create that, to create, you know, just a machine with me still being involved, you know, but creating a machine to pump out what I needed to take care of the things that I wanted to do. But then it started to grow past me, and I said, wow, I could be making so much money. I can start acquiring other things. I can acquire real estate. I can acquire other wealth vehicles along the way. So my mind just started tinkering, you know, from that point. So from the very beginning, it was serving people, but also I needed to take care of those food bills and that traveling. And I was like, if I could do that with sea moss, I'm like, I will do it. And, you know, serve people. But yeah, that's paved the way.
Yeah, I appreciate the why I'm so excited is I appreciate the naming of there's a certain way that I want to live. There's a certain lifestyle that I want to have. And so when we talk about business and entrepreneurship, a lot of that is framed around problem solving and doing things out of frustration, like you and I have talked about before. That's entrepreneurship 101, is find a need and fill it. And using your brain to solve a problem. But beyond that, it can also be, well, I don't want to be broke. No. Or I've been broke and I don't want to be back there again. That's what mine is. I've been poor. I've been broke. I've been on the verge of homelessness before, and I don't want to do that again. And if I can leverage my natural and what I feel are my God-given gifts and talents in order to do, that's what the journey was like for me. I realized, well, I always tell people that your gift is somebody else's struggle. So that thing that you were naturally good at, someone else has the hardest time with. The idea of traveling the globe, are you kidding me? There's someone that is terrified of the idea, but here comes Dr. West. It's like, but let me show you, I will be your guide. If someone's struggling with losing weight or eating well or cutting out meat, whatever the case is, you got that down to a science. It's like, you could do that in your sleep. Let me show you how. You want to fortify your life and have relationships that are sustaining, and you want to feel good in your faith and how you were showing up, then Pastor D is there for you. You're struggling communicatively and you don't know how to say what you mean and mean what you say. I'm your girl. And so, but that's what it comes now. So then there's also this idea of, but then how do I quantify that? How do I quantify this diet that I've been on, having lost 60 pounds and worked so hard to do this? It's like, well, then what do I charge for that? And how does this work? And so there's so much that goes into these things that we're talking about. But again, I appreciate this idea of there's a certain lifestyle that I want to ascertain or to obtain, and I don't make apologies for that. And so I want to transition into talking about, because you kind of touched on this a second ago, Jeff. First it was, okay, let me start here. And then it's like, oh, now I need a fulfillment center. And now I need this, now I need this. Do you think that the goalpost is always moving on this quest for the lifestyles that we want to have and maintain?
It's always. Because when I first started, I thought 6 figures was the thing to do. You know, and I think society has programmed us to 6 figures is success. But now I realize that's just a milestone. That's just me on the way to 8 and 9 figures and impacting way more people than I could have ever thought of. So it's always moving. So now it was 6, and now like my eyes are locked in on 7. But then it's locked in on the number behind that too, because I know these are milestones. I have not arrived. I'm always on a journey. Anybody that thinks they arrived, they're a fool. I'm always on this life journey.
That was Jeff calling y'all fools now. How about you, Pastor?
It's like a hunger. You know what I mean? I can never get enough, and I'm grateful for the accomplishments. I'm grateful for what I have obtained and seeing the fruit of my labor. But I'm always on the what's next, because I know that there's more. I know that there's more. I know that there's more, and it's just a part of who I am. You know, and I make no apologies for it. You know, I think sometimes we can apologize for having that hunger and wanting to have that wealth and wanting to have a lifestyle. You got to be okay with no apologies. None. You know, I set the bar for my life, and I go for it and I obtain it.
Yeah, I'm from Southern California, and we moved from there to the Atlanta area. I will not say Atlanta, because Atlanta people, they feel very particular about this region. And when people ask, why did you do that? Why did you uproot your family and y'all moved? I always say, because the quality of life that we were seeking was immediately available to us here. And as much as I love Long Beach, California, the city that raised me, I was going to be broke in terms of the long-term goals that we have for our family and for our children. And so I think it's important for us to talk a bit more about the pursuit of the lifestyle that we want to have, but also being willing to do the work to have it and to enjoy it. Did you want to make a comment about that, Kim, about the goalpost moving?
The goalpost is always moving, and especially since I have an opportunity to see the world and see how other cultures are living and see how other middle classes are moving and see how other wealthy people in other countries are moving. You know, we think we have it on lock. You said, you know, the goal used to be 6 figures.
No.
Go to Dubai. Obscene. Absolutely obscene. Some things that we haven't even thought about. My goalpost constantly moves because I now have nieces and nephews and I now have sons. So I want for them to not have to struggle. I want for them to be able to live a particular type of lifestyle and not have to worry about certain things. So yes, my goalpost is always moving for those reasons.
That's great. That's wonderful. I'm right there at that juncture of moving out of solopreneurship into business ownership. And there is a transition there. And so I can say, yes, I want to be wealthy But what does that look like in tangible terms, and how is that playing out in the way that I'm operating my business as an entrepreneur and or making the transition into business ownership? Because there is a difference. And so I think that this conversation is so rich in that regard, because there's so much more to what we think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what it's going to take for me to get to where you are is different than what it took for her, and so forth. But we won't know that unless we're having conversations about it like we're doing today at the winner's table. Now, so what would you all do differently if you could, when you reflect on your journey and how far you've gotten in all that you have accomplished? Because this is the winner's table. We're all winners here in our own regard. So when you think about your successes and your accomplishments, what do you think you would do differently, if anything?
I would have started earlier.
Yeah.
I would have started earlier studying wealth. I would have started earlier amassing wealth. But I was after money. I wasn't after wealth.
Okay,
That's okay.
I love that.
Yeah, I was looking for money, not wealth. And now that we have the next generation of our family, and then actually the next generation after that of our family, that's when I started to get really serious about wealth and looking how to build it, where to build it, looking at the people who had built it before us, and that was the catalyst for me.
I can agree with Dr. Kim. I would have educated myself a little bit earlier. I've had so much money come through my hands. Easy come, easy go. My mother used to say, best lessons about lessons. Well, some of them lessons I ain't want to pay for. You know what I mean? But I did. You know what I'm saying? But if I could do it all over again, I would sit back. That I had obtained, I would hold on to it, and I would really educate myself and be very, as you all, Jeff always says, very strategic. I believe money is made to make more money. You know what I mean? And so that money would have been reproduced and flowing back to me, as opposed to me chasing it or spending it, and then I'm in a state of desperation and then I have to learn what I've learned. No regrets, but that's just what I would have done.
I would have invested in myself and to other communities quicker, because I had access to a lot of stuff in the past, and I was like, they're making so much money. Why would I give them more money? And I didn't understand how wealth worked. Like you gotta pay a price. You gotta be vested in order for you to get some sort of return. So you have to invest in these programs, mentors, masterminds, whatever it may be. I wish I would have did that longer, and also eliminated distractions, because I feel like fractured focus kept me back, because I didn't, move fast enough, because I was looking at all the shiny objects. I was looking at what everybody else was doing. I was doing all of this. If I would have eliminated the distractions and I would have invested more ahead of time, I would have been way further ahead. But I feel like I'm right where I need to be. If I could change it, if we had a magic, genie or wand or whatever, I would tell my earlier self that. But I feel like I'm right where I need to be. And like you said, I got a lot of expensive paid lessons, a lot of expensive paid lessons. So I would have done those things.
Yeah. And I want to make a point that I don't think that we associate with chasing wealth or being in business, and that is choosing your relationships. If I would do anything different, I would have held off on a lot of relationships, a lot of choices in that area, because being with the wrong person can impact you, and it could impact your wealth.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's very critical. I would have been home alone a long time. I think that's very key.
What's that saying? If you hang out with 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th.
You'll be the 10th.
And I'm even speaking from a personal standpoint. You know what I mean? Because when you connect with someone and marry and things like that, it impacts your life. It does. And now you're paying out and you're losing because of choices that someone else made that impacts you. And I definitely would hold off on a couple of marriages.
Well, y'all are so deep and smart and thoughtful, because my final question was going to be, what would you say to someone who was just starting on their journey? But I think that question that I just asked you serves that dual purpose. It's reframing it in that same way, which is to start early, read, learn, and start early.
And study.
Be mindful of your partnerships.
That's right. Most definitely.
And how they're going to help how they are going to either help or hinder you.
That's right.
In your pursuit of wealth. And or just your goals, and or just your mere existence. And also learn. You said, get out, make relationships, get in communities, join a mastermind, find out what you don't know and learn those things and apply them. And I don't have any point of disagreement with all of that, because I think that that applies across the board. So if you're watching this and you're someone who's just starting, I hope that you can take something from this conversation to say, yeah, I am on the right path, and I'm going to make decisions. I'm going to take these cheat codes and apply them as they relate to my own life and create wealth and pursue wealth in my own way.
That's right.
Right.
Thank y'all again for such a wonderful conversation. And thank you all for joining us at the Winner's Table.
The Combo, your home for conversations on Black entrepreneurship and wealth, available on your favorite platforms.